Hi, so I'm back again. So I think this is my third video. I've actually felt really uncomfortable doing these videos and sharing them anyway. Yeah, there's been a few times I've really wanted to just delete them, but I recognise that's just my mind, that's uncomfortable, the little I. So I feel there's something more pushing me to do this, and it's actually helping me. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. But today I wanted to talk about pain and how pain is a portal, how any feeling is a portal. So, a few weeks back now, I had this really heavy, tight, dense feeling in my chest. I didn't think too much of it at first. I just ignored it really, and it went away because it came and went. It was on and off. But each time it came, it got bigger and bigger and more intense. Yeah, and I could feel it. I could feel it sort of shifting about just ever so slightly. It was just moving about. I could feel it bubbling about. Um, and it was mostly in the evenings it would get more and more intense. So yeah, this was going on for a few weeks, and it was getting stronger and stronger. And then one evening while I was in bed, it came on again, and it was really intense. But me being me, I just sat with it and asked it questions. I do this kind of thing. I like to sit with things and just see what my intuition brings. So I did that. So I just really focused on this feeling on my chest. For a while, I was just laid there, really focused on it, asking it what it was. And then all of a sudden, I felt this energy. It just sort of split into two. And some came down, went bubbling down, and then some went bubbling up, and it actually came out in belches and things. This is just how it was released. But yeah, as it was being released, I could feel all the emotions, and I just started crying. I was just laid there crying, feeling all these things, and then the story came. So the story. So all this energy I was feeling, it was all from a night over 25 years ago. I'm not sure exactly how many years. I know it was about over 25 years ago. It was from a traumatic night. It was traumatic for me and my family. Yeah, that night I actually thought I might die. So yeah, it was quite traumatic for me at that age. And back then, I wasn't very conscious, and I didn't have the kind of insights that I've got today. So as the story was released, it kind of showed me that back then, I just dealt with the surface level of things. I thought I'd dealt with it, let it go, and moved on, but no. Actually, that experience went on to shape the rest of my life. So some of the things that I went on to do after that were all attached to this story. There was a lot of me trying to escape that trauma. I had no idea. That's what I was doing back then, but it was made very clear. But I don't regret any of those things that I did, because I learned a lot from those experiences as well. So, but yeah, it just showed me how from that one traumatic night, how many other stories were attached to this one night. There was so much shame, so much guilt, fear, a mixed bag of all sorts of things really. But I realised that I was never the same person after that night. It wasn't noticeable at the time because it was so subtle. But yeah, I was never the same person, and I wasn't the same mom. But at the same time all this was being released, there was also no one to blame and there was no judgment. The way I understood it, there was no one to blame and there was no judgment on this story at all, no more. That's why it could be let go. And it was just so wow, this older version that I'd been carrying around with me for all these years, and that had shaped my life from that moment. So what happens when we experience these kinds of traumas? Our mind, I mean, like I said, back then I didn't have these kinds of insights. So back then I wasn't equipped to deal with that. I had no idea how to deal with that. So your ego, your mind will always try to keep us safe. So basically my mind had suppressed that and shoved it into my body. And when it's shoved into your body like this, it becomes unconscious. So you might be walking around life feeling like you've dealt with things from the past, but a lot of the times we haven't, and we're just not aware because it's become unconscious then. So what I was shown, so I had to fully feel all of that so it could be released. So this is what I'm trying to say, that pain is the portal, or any feeling. So I had to go in and I had to go through the pain. I had to feel it all for it to be able to for it to release. And it released a lot. So there was, like I said, there was anger, shame. There were so many things around that one night. But after the release, wow. So the next day, there was so much more energy was able to flow through my body, so much more energy the whole day. And from that day I felt so much better. I woke up feeling so light. It was very strange. I felt empty. I felt really empty inside. I was like, I wasn't sure what to do with it. I was like, do I need to eat? Such a strange feeling, but really nice. So that that next day was just this energy able to flow through me without any blockages stopping it. And it just made my day. Like, I was aware of so much more. I was really present and in the moment. The whole day was just so effortless. I just got on with things so effortlessly. And I was able to stay in the present moment really so much more easier, and doing that, everything's sort of understood in the moment. Everything you need is in the moment. So it was really worth going through that experience just to have it gone, because it felt like ghosts. That older version I was carrying around with me, it felt like a ghost when it left. But it was like I was able to say goodbye to that old version of me with love, send her off in love. She's not needed no more, because I don't need protecting no more, because I've come. So what I realised that night, it actually obliterated my trust in men and in myself. So I didn't know this. This is all came with the story and all revealed itself to me. So I didn't trust myself to choose the right people to be around after that experience, and I definitely didn't trust men. And that led on to, like I said, my next relationship after. That was what that relationship was about. It was mirroring that trust back to me. So that relationship, there was literally no trust in that relationship at all. It was a beautiful relationship, but it was very difficult. So without going into too much detail of my personal story, that just sort of, that had to happen, because I wasn't trusting in my masculine and in myself. It just showed me how everything from that moment had been shaped from that traumatic night. So what I've realised, what we do, most people don't like to sit alone, especially in silence, stillness with nothing to do. A lot of people don't like being alone because there's an uncomfortable feeling that arises. And this is how it will start. There will be an uncomfortable feeling. And that's all it will feel like initially. And if only we could just sit still and quiet enough for long enough to allow that uncomfortable feeling to grow. It doesn't all have to be done in one sitting. It can be done over a period of time. With conscious focus, attention. But yeah, most people, we feel, because I've done it myself, we feel these uncomfortable feelings and then we distract ourselves. So we'll either pick our phones up, just enough distraction, just so we don't look there, which is actually the place we need to be looking. So just enough, we'll pick our phones up or we'll go for a run, we'll think to ourselves, well, I'll go run this feeling off, I'll go to the gym, I'll go shopping. And then for people that have got even deeper traumas or bigger traumas, then unfortunately that can lead to sort of drug use, alcohol use, because the trauma is so big and felt so bigly, that people run away from it in all sorts of things. So this is what I'm trying to say. So that the pain, that uncomfortable feeling doesn't have to be there. If we just allow it to come, if we just sit with it, let it be there, let it show itself to you. There might not always be a story that arises with it. It might just be an energetic leaving. It doesn't have to be a story. But yeah, we can just sit. Obviously it's not nice to be uncomfortable, and it's not nice to have these emotions come out, but it's not going to kill you. And trust me, it's worth it afterwards when it's gone and you're not having to drag that old energy around with you no more. Yeah. So I would suggest avoiding pain is not the way to go. It really isn't. I don't even think most of us realise that we're avoiding the pain or the uncomfortable feelings, because we're just so used to distracting, and we just think it's normal. We just think it's normal to just distract ourselves. We don't even think there's something wrong a lot of the times. But if you are someone that's recognising that you're avoiding, I would advise you to just sit with that and focus your attention on wherever the energy is, wherever the feeling is in your body, and just keep your attention on it and see what happens. Just see what happens. And like I said, you can do it over a period of time. It doesn't have to be all done in one go. But yeah, we have to go in and feel the pain, or feel whatever it is that's been stored within the body, and go through it so that it can be felt fully and then released. And that's how I saw it's a portal to the other side of a better version of yourself, a lighter, freer version of yourself. So what I noticed after that release, many more releases came about all sorts of little stories, bigger stories, little stories. After I released that one, a lot more has followed. So yeah, I'm just continuing to empty, and I'm feeling lighter and lighter and lighter. But that will say increase your consciousness, expand your consciousness as well, and you will be able to go deeper into yourself as well. So yes, so the next time you feel uncomfortable, maybe just choose to sit and not run. Obviously that choice is yours. But going through the portal, yeah, it's beautiful.